Welcome back to Ferris Sports Update. Time to talk Bulldog Hockey, and with us, head coach Bob Daniels. And Coach, welcome back to the show.
Good to be here, Rob. Thank you.
Kind of like we just talked with men's basketball, competitive race here in the WCHA, and obviously any given night, team's really capable of putting some points up and making some things happen.
Well, we're going to have to, Rob. There's no question. We've really put ourselves in a hole. We were able to get a single point this weekend. Certainly not what we were hoping for. We would have liked to have had more. But you know, we understand where we're at. The nice thing is we control our own fate, which is all you can ask for. And you know, as we sit right now, we're 8 points behind Huntsville for the last playoff spot. Now each game's worth 3, so that helps. And we play 2 this weekend up at Anchorage, and then we have, and Huntsville's off this weekend. Then we have Huntsville at home, you know, to wrap up our season at home. So we've got a chance here, but we've got to take care of business ourselves.
Obviously, this past weekend, 2 competitive games. Maybe the score, at least on the second night, might not reflect it, but 2 even games in terms of the total shots here in both contests.
Yeah, I thought the score of the first game and the fact that we went to a second OT was very indicative of that game. The second night, I felt like the score was not indicative. We gave up a couple of 5-on-3 goals against, and then you know we ended up chasing the game the rest of the night. But I don't think that the 6-1 final was really indicative of the way we played.
As we go to the highlights of Friday's game, a competitive game on Friday night, and obviously a game that went to the wire and went to some extra time.
Yeah, it was. And once we go to that second OT, as I said earlier, it's a 3-point game. And so what ends up happening is each team now secures a point once we get through the first 5-minute overtime. And then you're playing the last 5 minutes 3-on-3 for a bonus point or shootout for the bonus point. You can see here we had some difficulties with the ice, and you can see how wet it is right now. I want to really give a tip of the cap, though, to Tim Blashill, our physical plant, and all the people involved, because it was one of those rare things where both compressors went down. And so when they flooded the rink, or in between periods when the Zamboni went out, none of it wasn't cold enough to freeze the water. And it was tough. It was tough on both teams. You know, I thought both teams lost maybe a touch of momentum here, but then the game heated back up. But it was a thing where for Tim Blashill there was a lot of pressure on him, and they really did. They did a yeoman's job. And then the next night, I mean, they worked throughout the night just to make sure that everything was running correctly. So very, positive result for that.
You did get 2 goals there early in the second period. Bemidji State comes back and gets a goal, but then here a big sequence here at the end of the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, we in the last 3 minutes we had it down their end. I was wondering, are we going to get the goal before time runs out? We did. We had numerous chances, and so it was a good. You know, we pulled the goalie fairly early in that game, maybe 2:15 to go in the game, and like I said, we had it down in their end for quite some time. We had a couple of really good looks. We hit a couple pipes in overtime. And you know, it just they get it. That once you get to 3-on-3, it's, you know, anything can happen. Here we were just on a 2-on-1. Now they're coming back on us 2-on-1. You can see our guy coming off the bench doesn't quite get there. Now it's interesting that had he gotten there and we were stopped, that we would have been called for too many men on the ice, though. But it was probably not a bad move. It wasn't when I told the guy to go. He just did it on his own. But had they called it, well, okay, they get a power play for 8 seconds. It was really a pretty slick move on that kid's part, but probably not one I would want him to do again.
Friday night's game officially a tie by the NCAA record books, and obviously they get the extra point going into Saturday night's contest.
Yeah, they did, and we felt good going into Saturday night. We had a really good morning skate and morning meetings, felt very confident going in. As I said, we just got the wrong side of things. Throughout the first, I thought it was very evenly played. We got called on a 5-on-3. We were down a man, and we took a penalty. You know, I'd have to say, of course I'm going to be slanted towards us, but I thought it was a bit of a weak call to put you down 5-on-3. They scored on that one, and then they got another goal on a 5-on-3, which I thought both calls were good on that one. We had it coming, but it felt like we couldn't buy a bounce this night, and it was frustrating. I give our guys a lot of credit, though. We go into the third, we're down 5-1 at that point. I thought we played very hard. We ended up falling behind 6-1, but I give a lot of credit. Even within the last 2 minutes of that game, they had a shot on net in which Liam McDougall blocked, and it stung. It hurts, and that told me all I need to know about Liam on what a competitor he is.
Obviously, they took the early 1-0 lead, and then they'll get a goal here late in the opening period, which made it 2-0.
Yeah, and this goal, this is one of the 5-on-3 situations, and Cooper Zek, who's a very great player for us, an offensive defenseman. I don't know if I wanted him to necessarily go down on the 5-on-3 to try to score as a defenseman. It'd probably been a little bit more advised to just go ahead and ice that puck, because once he turned it over and fell down, that gave him a 4-on-2, and they capitalized there. There was probably a poor deflection, this one just, I believe, beats Cappy clean. Oh no, it tips off of number 6 for them. So anyways, tough night for Cappy, and then Roney gets back in some, and Kagas. I thought he played very well. He played almost 2 periods, gave up 2 goals, but he had a solid performance.
We'll see your team come back here after they had taken the big lead, and you'll get a goal. As you said, your kids did not quit.
No, they don't. I mean, they're going to get one here. We cough it up. But, at this point, we're just doing anything we can to try to get back in the game. So you're gambling, you're taking chances you probably shouldn't take. There we get on the board. And like I say, it was a disappointing night. But the one thing I wasn't disappointed with was the effort that we showed in the third period.
Obviously, playing at home here this past weekend. Now you have to go on the road as you travel to Alaska to take on Alaska Anchorage this weekend. A long trip. How do you handle that trip?
Well, it's not too bad. It's actually, for us, we're going to bus to Chicago, and then it's a direct flight Chicago to Anchorage. Now, that's a long flight. It's a 4-hour time change, but it's pretty palatable in terms of getting there. And then we'll leave on Wednesday, so that'll give us a full day Thursday to try to get acclimated to the 4-hour time change as best you can. And we'll turn around, tee it off on Friday, Saturday nights, and then the good news is there's a late flight coming back. I think it leaves at 1:30 in the morning, so that gets us out of there Saturday night, Sunday morning, however you want to look at it, and then we'll be back to school, hopefully no later than 6 o'clock that evening.
As you mentioned, both of these coming weekends here, 6 games left in the regular season, all big games here for your team. What does it take to go up there and hopefully get a couple wins?
Well, we swept them earlier this year at home. And I thought they played very well. I thought we did too. But they're not a team that scores a ton of goals, but they are very good defensively. So we've got to make sure that we're as solid defensively as they are. We'll get our chances, but we don't want to be trading chance for chance with them. And so I think as always, defense wins the day.
Well, Coach, best of luck as you travel to Anchorage this weekend. Safe travels, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks, Rob.
We'll be back with more Ferris Sports Update right after this.